to this week's astrology. Now, this week, we are coming out of eclipse season. We had our final solar eclipse, or our final eclipse of that season yesterday, and that was a solar eclipse in Pisces. Now, here's the thing. When I say we're coming out of eclipse season, I don't mean that the energy is necessarily ending. Instead, we have the opportunity now, between now and kind of the 12th to the 13th of April, when we have the next full moon, to still work through what was coming up for us during eclipse season. And so that will take you back through to the 13th to 14th of March when this particular eclipse season started. Now, at a personal level, the energy can feel really strong still today. The moon's still in Pisces. But it can really carry on, and you can find it's almost like a drop of water or a rock hitting still water, and the ripples just keep on going out, and they will keep on going out until we have our next lunation at a personal level. But at a collective level, we can expect to still feel the effects of this eclipse for the next 4 months. There will be a lot that we're processing as a group on Earth together at once, be that to do with our countries, be that to do with our systems of governance, be that to do with the corporations that seem to work with government, be that to do with humanitarian groups. It's those type of energies. It's like when we're with others, or when there's seeming groups of people, this eclipse will still be playing out for those countries, those groups, those institutions and governments for the next 4 months. So just, know that and use that as a means to continue, as a means to care for yourself as well. Particularly if there was a practice that maybe you started during eclipse season to help you work with the energy, because it's quite intense. You might find that you want to continue that practice now, that there's no reason to end it. Now, today's a massive day, right? Yes, I've spoken about eclipse season, but today Saturn enters Pisces in sidereal astrology. Now, in Western astrology, Saturn's been in Pisces for a while. And if we actually looked up at the skies, Saturn would be moving into the Pisces constellation today. That is going to bring with it significant change we'll feel over the coming years. I'm going to create a longer form video to go through that. I'll put a link below if you really want to get into what you can expect with Saturn in Pisces. We are talking about the Lord of Karma, which is Saturn, entering the final sign of the Zodiac. And Pisces rules confinement. It rules systems like jails and death, and how we punish people in society, like in its shadow form. It also rules incredible energy around the arts and poetry and music. It also, when Saturn is in Pisces, we tend to get a lot of energy around cults. It's kind of fascinating when we look back on history. And so it's just a reminder to say that things are shifting and things are changing in the collective energy, not just because of the eclipse, but also because of Saturn entering Pisces. We as a society are changing as a part of that. And these are smaller changes than, say, what I've spoken about in previous weeks, like Uranus entering Taurus, or when Pluto changes signs. These tend to be bigger collective changes. Because Saturn, he moves slower than Jupiter, but much quicker than those bigger planets, the big transpersonal collective planets like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. He does still have reasonably massive impact. If you're in a position at the moment where maybe you're not sure if you're in the right industry, if you're doing the right job, if the way you're structuring your life is even honoring you, you can find that this coming period with Saturn really shakes things up for you. And I mean, Saturn's going to be in Pisces until 2028, but you can find that this is a period where, and even this weekend, where maybe you start to get hints of what it is that you're bringing to a close. What is it that you're ending? And in a way, Saturn entering Pisces, but also all the energy going down in Pisces last week and this week. Neptune, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, the North Node, now Saturn entering, the Sun, the Moon, they're all in it today. There is such a massive focus at the beginning of this week on what we need to collectively bring to a close. Personally, also, it can feel like you're in a really liminal space, almost like between the material and the soul, standing between what you're ending and what's about to begin, and you might have no idea what it is that's coming. Pisces asks us to embrace a liminal consciousness, to not hold on to anything too firmly. And one thing that's really important, particularly today and tomorrow, is because so much energy is in Pisces, is to really get comfortable with things not necessarily making sense, like not being able to put a logical order to what's going on for you. Pisces doesn't speak in language. It speaks in imagery. It speaks in music. It speaks in poetry. It doesn't use like logical words to explain itself. It also speaks in metaphor. So paying attention and not taking things at face value is going to be really important Sunday, Monday of this week. Just be open to also using your intuition. Not if you're one of the if you're the type of person, and I'm like this from time to time as well, where you need to put things in a list or columns of pros and cons, this is not the time to do that. This is not the time to be strategizing or creating a logical plan. It will just be really difficult in this energy. This is a time to use your intuition, to listen to dreams, to be open to bigger teachings about the universe, to not focus on the detail. It's going to be really uncomfortable if you have a lot of Virgo energy, Sagittarius or Gemini. If you have a lot of Pisces placements, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but for the most part, you should be feeling at home. You know, Pisces' ultimate calling, which we're all feeling, is it wants total unity. It wants oneness, and it's jarring when it has to use logic. It's jarring when it has to be pulled out of that dream world. And so we want to work with its energy, not push against it. Now, that's really important as well today. So yes, Saturn's entering Pisces today. Yes, the Sun, the Moon are still, well, the Moon's still in Pisces today, but also Mercury retrograde is going to be conjunct Neptune. Get ready for prophetic dreams. If they didn't come to you last night, feel into what happens tonight. Generally, when Mercury and Neptune are sitting with one another, it's like having a microphone on your intuition, having a microphone on the symbolism that you might be encountering within your day-to-day life, within meditation, within any altered states of consciousness that you're experiencing. And so say if you're someone who thinks, hey, my intuition's not that good, like I don't really know what it feels like, listen now. You're getting really good really like a direct line to it, which can help you cultivate it moving forward if that's something that you want. Now, let's move on from today. Tomorrow, the Sun enters, so the Sun's still in Pisces, but it enters a Vedic lunar mansion called Revati. And I love Revati. Revati is the final lunar mansion. It's the 27th lunar mansion. And when the Sun enters Revati, and we'll be feeling this all week and then next week, it's this energy of like time no longer abides by the rules it normally has. So what I mean by that, you might be someone that's always early for meetings, and you might find this is a week you just run late the whole week. It can also be a week where you're not expecting something to happen, and it's almost like time travel happens. Something from the future pops in that maybe wasn't meant to be there for a couple of years, and equally something from the past comes back that you weren't expecting. It's like, I don't know, if you think of it like, it's a little bit like a sci-fi movie, or like the time-space continuum like a glitch in the matrix. That's probably the best way to put it. So it's encouraging that liminality. It's encouraging intuition. It's encouraging you, if you can, not to plan too much with this week, to really see if you can practice going with the energy of the week, like going with the way that you're called. On Tuesday, Venus retrograde will re-enter a nakshatra called Purva Bhadra, which is ruled by Jupiter. So what that means is you can find on Tuesday, if it hasn't already come up, that there's almost a call for you to sacrifice something in the material realm, or some desire that you've been holding on to, because like you need to do it for the greater good of your family, your friends, your lover, your home, your children. There'll be something that needs to be given up. And Venus really does deal with desires. So it can be like an old desire, and it's almost like something that might have been causing you havoc, something that's reappearing at the moment while Venus is retrograde, that you really need to let go of. On Thursday, not the easiest day, Mars re-enters Cancer. Well, Mars is now direct and it goes back into Cancer, where it was in January, February. And Mars is not happy in Cancer. Mars is fiery and direct, and Cancer makes it like it's water, fire hitting water. It's total steam, and it can feel like your drive is like going up and down. Like 1 minute you want something and then you change your mind and it's something else. And no, that's what it's like. Emotions can get really big and they can dictate the action you take, instead of it being from a place of like a deeper sense of drive. We just want to be really careful, be really gentle with yourself around Thursday as Mars re-enters Cancer. It's not a time to start new things unless it's being thrown at you by the universe. For most of us, it won't be a time to start new things. It can be really difficult to navigate our way through it. That said, there are always exceptions to that. Now, Mars is going to be opposing Pluto again. And we had that in January. It was really intense at the beginning of January when Mars was directly opposing Pluto. It was bringing up a lot of conflict, a lot of war. It's going to peak again. It's already started, but it will continue and it will build up to the 26th, 27th of April and finish on the 19th of May. It feels like... particularly on Saturday, because the moon will meet Mars, it feels like there's the process of potentially ending a direction or ending an action that was being taken that's just not yielding results. And the advice while Mars is opposed Pluto is don't put pressure on yourself to know what to do. Like, don't put the pressure on yourself to feel like you have to make something work, because in actuality, the cosmos is not really working with you. It's almost saying, hey, stop, hold up, like make time your friend, particularly while the sun is in Revati. Like, let this be a time of just integrating and processing and not making big moves. On Thursday, Venus retrograde will be conjunct the North Node. Pay attention on Thursday what comes to you, what new energy, what new opportunities. It might be like a repeat of something old, but in a new way. The North Node is all about our Dharma. It can be chaotic, right? But like it's all about pushing us into a new understanding of love, a new understanding of the material realm. It can also be the day where if you haven't noticed, there's been that sacrificial energy of needing to give up a desire or something in the material realm. This will be the day. This can also be the day when this needs to happen. And then we finish the week. On Friday, the Black Moon Lilith enters a Vedic mansion called Swati. And this can really, the Black Moon Lilith is all about following what is right, following what is true, not what is conventional. It's the primal feminine. And as she enters Swati, we have to be very, very careful with our tempers. You can find that there is stuff that comes up. She's going to be there till the 3rd of July in that particular house or lunar mansion. You can find that it's almost like the universe gives you a choice. Like, you can use your frustration at the world or your frustration at the perceived blocks within the world to get angry at other people, to get frustrated and to use, like, to hurt other people with your anger. Or you can turn that around, and instead of that being a destructive tendency, you can use it to fuel your own motivation. You can use it to look at yourself and use it to carve out a way in which you follow even more truth. So that's this week's astrology. This is a little bit longer than normal, but there is a lot going on this week. If you want more info on Saturn entering Pisces, you can check out the link below. Also coming up, let me think. I'm running a very cool 9-week program with Siddhi Shakti, who is a mantra teacher, on the Navagraha. And the Navagraha is the 9 planets in Jyotish or in Vedic astrology. And we're going to be looking at mantra as well as astrology. And mantra, the purpose of mantra is or the planetary mantras is to help balance the planetary energies in our chart. In particular, planets like Saturn, planets like the North Node, the ones that are like, and Mars, like the destructive, malefic, as well as enhance those that are benefic in our chart. Mantra works at a soul level, at a deeply primal level. And it helps us not just embody the energy of the planets, but also heal our cosmic body, the energy within us. We have a couple of places left. I'll put details below if that speaks to you. Otherwise, have a wonderful week.